All right, everybody, it is the top of the hour. Thank you for joining us on Becoming a Social Media Rockstar. My name is Greg Town. I am your feature trainer tonight with GT Training Systems. Want to thank and welcome everybody for coming out, joining us today. Apologize about that. Anytime you hear kind of a blinking on the screen and stuff, or the audio, more than likely it's just me muting my mic real quick as I take a drink of water here real quick. So I recognize about half of the names on our attendees list today. The other half, I have not met you yet. I wish to thank those that I know that actually shared our training for today and stuff. And so just kind of want to get this sucker started. So here we go. All right. Gotta love it when technology works with us. So just want to quickly go over the structure for today's webinar. Want to do a quick introduction about myself because, when I'm sitting in on these trainings and stuff, I always want to know a little bit about the person that's actually presenting and speaking. Going to go through about 45 to 60 minutes of actually awesome, power intense training. Do a quick introductory into my advanced training starting September 7th, 2016. You do not need to worry. There is no pressure. As I tell people, I'm the no pressure guy. It is as some of you know, I also have a successful real estate team and real estate business. And the one thing I absolutely, truly hate is when we'll go in for like a training or something of that aspect and it turns into a sales pitch. Where they'll just spend, 90 minutes to an hour, something, an hour, 90 minutes or a couple of hours or something like that. And it's nothing more than just an absolute sales pitch why we need to fly down to California to their 3-day mastermind event or to Las Vegas or to wherever, fill in the blank and stuff. I absolutely hate that. My attitude is I would much rather go very in-depth, go intense with you guys. And if you sit there and go, I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready for definitely the one-on-one coaching and mentoring and being being plugged into this type of system on a regular basis. Then absolutely I want us to be a resource there and available for you. If you sit there and go, hey, right now just the timing's not right or what have you, no worries, no stress, no pressure on that. I just want to make sure that we stay connected so that you can basically be able to plug in on some of the other training aspects or be able to get into like our YouTube channel and watch some of our videos and stuff. And then if you find yourself ready that, hey, you're ready to kind of jump in and be part of the culture, be part of the system, and just kind of have that one-on-one mentoring and training and stuff, absolutely, for me, it's like, I hope that, you see the value and stuff that we give, and you would, I would be one of your top choices and stuff to reach out to and stuff. So give you more ways to reach out to keep with free training. And then question and answer, any questions you have, feel free to dump them into the little chat box right there on the side. I tend to get a little ADD, so I actually minimize that out and stuff so I don't get too distracted as I'm doing the webinars and stuff. But I do promise at the end I will go in depth in all those questions, as in depth as I possibly can. I don't pretend that I'm the know-all be-all. I'm not the Yoda of the business building or the marketing or sales world and stuff, but I do have a lot of connections and stuff. I'm very well connected, and I can probably help us find somebody to touch base with to answer all those questions. And also keep in mind for the questions and stuff, a question can be about anything. It doesn't have to be just for today's social media. Yesterday we did a awesome training on lead generation. Next week we're doing an awesome training on the 12 steps the steps leading up to closing of a sale and stuff. So any questions you have on business development, leadership, sales, marketing, I tell people it's like, even as many people here know and stuff, I'm very big in health and wellness. And I mean, even aspects of, health and wellness and getting, and energy levels and stuff of that aspect. So let's get into chatting a little bit about who am I. I mean, there you see my my wonderful face there. It's kind of funny here. I'm sitting in the middle of our studios. I've got the computer in front of me. I've got a speaker, or correction, I got a microphone stuck to, literally right up next to my face here. And then I have you guys out there all across the U.S. listening in. So, want to share with you a little bit about myself. I am a top producing real estate broker for Washington State. As a matter of fact, I have been awarded as one of the top 10 real estate brokers for the American Institute of Real Estate Professionals in Washington State for the year 2016 and 2017. I'm also a published author. I've written the book, Becoming Known as the Friend in the Business, going from salesperson to trusted advisor. I speak and train for multiple professional industries. How this all came about was I actually had a good friend of mine that told me one time, Greg, I do business with you because you are my friend first, my realtor second. And for me, that was when the light bulb actually went off on top of my head. And so I went to my team and I said, hey, let's work on this concept of basically becoming known as the friend in the business. I want us to go from a very typical real estate is a very typical transactional type of business. I want us to go from that into more of a relationship type of transaction stuff. I want people to feel that we're something more than just their real estate broker. I want them to feel like we're truly connected to them. We're truly friends with them and stuff. And so we started working on that, and we had massive, massive success. So much success that even that our lending partners were coming to me and saying, hey, what are you guys doing over there? So I started sharing with them on the training on that. And then from their massive success, insurance agents was noticing, hey, there's a whole bunch more binders and stuff. There's a whole bunch more business stuff coming in from these groups of lenders and stuff. What are they doing? So those insurance brokers started reaching out to me and stuff. And so we started sharing with them. And from there, it just organically grew out. And about the time that I started having attorneys, dentists, and chiropractors reaching out to me saying, wanting to chat about their marketing structure and stuff is when I kind of sat there with, I think there's a business model or a training model here that can be done. And so that's when we started working on taking what we do across multiple platforms and multiple industries and really truly helping out, as I refer to it, as the professionals out there that have to be really, really good and experts at the service that they provide. But on top of that, they also have to be experts at marketing and promoting themselves in their business. They realize that in a sense that, their business, they're wearing two really, really super big hats and multiple hats underneath those hats, different, different avenues of what they have to do and stuff. But their two biggest hats is number one, performing that service at an expert level, at the top level of their game, of the service that they provide for their clientele or their customers or to the general public. And that other really big super hat is the marketing and the promoting and actually getting out there and generating the leads and finding the customers and clients so that they can actually go out and do the business that they do. So, on top of that, as you can see, I'm a small business owner. I jokingly tell people I own 2.5 companies. One of those companies I've got some really great partnerships with. That's why I call it the 0.5 company and stuff. So, the one thing that you'll realize here is I'm right there in the trenches with you. I know what it's like to close the deal. I know what it's like to have a new prospect, all of a sudden a new person that I'm seeing hanging out there in the social media world or on the online world. I know what it feels like when they raise their hand and say, hey, I'm really interested. Can you help me? I want to meet with you face to face. And that's kind of the basis of what today's training is about, of, working on, developing those relationships online and then getting that into a business business relationship and a business aspect of business, income generating item for you offline and stuff. I know what that feels like, and I also know what it feels like to have the world crashing around you. I was involved in the real estate world, and the professional speaking world when the markets were crashing around us, and we were all fighting tooth and nail. There were days that literally, I kid you not, I did not even have my head above water. I felt like I only had my nose above water. I know what it feels like to have everything crashing around you and wondering how the hell am I going to keep everything together and stay afloat. I know exactly what all that feels. So that's one of the biggest values that I bring for, my coaching customers and clients, is that I'm right there in the trenches right alongside with them. What I am not, And this is part of the reason why I started the training company, was because, especially in the real estate world, you'll have all these trainers and stuff, all sorts of trainers, and none of them have ever done a real estate transaction. None of them have ever done really anything in sales outside of selling their service of being a trainer. It just, it was all smoke and mirrors. It was all just crap. It was all bullshit. And so, I mean, that's one of the other big reasons why I started my training company, was because I got tired of all that crap out there. Every single training module, every single training system that I bring into place is something that we have worked with, we have implemented, we have tweaked within our own personal industries, our own personal businesses and stuff. It's not one of those things where I happen to read something on a blog, or I see a cool thing said on a YouTube channel or something of that aspect and go, that sounds like that's going to be a really cool thing. I'm going to create a webinar based purely and solely on that. No, that's crap. What I basically do is I look at something and go, okay, I think that'll work. So we take that, we bring it, and I meet with my teams, like, how do we implement this? How do we tie this in? And from there, we start working with it. We start tweaking with it. We really, truly just start working on perfecting it. And so that aspect, then I go through and say, okay, well, once we've got it perfected, we take it into the general, then we take it over to our training company, and then we take it to the multiple platforms and stuff, the multiple industries and stuff. So just want to share with you a little bit about who I am, and most importantly, who I'm not. So let's talk about how you get the most out of today's webinar. Well, I want to tell you, turn off all distractions. Turn off your cell phone, turn off your emails. If you're able to kind of close yourself into your office or something like that, just give yourself the opportunity to unplug for, just a little bit of time in today, so that you can really work on this, this aspect, so you can massively just explode your business. Get out a pen and paper and take notes. As long as technology works for us today, we're recording today's webinar and stuff. As long as the technology works, this will be uploaded into our YouTube channel. But, as I always tell people, listen fast because I talk fast. So, what is social media? Really, how I look at what is social media? Any website that is used to bring together and connect people with a shared interest. We all know the big players out there, but I mean, it is how many truly social media websites out there? I mean, it is, I'm going to say that there are just bazillions of them. I was actually at a conference, and there was a social media guru there, and I asked him point blank, like, how many social media websites are out there? And they couldn't even answer the question and stuff. So what types of social media? Well, I kind of call it the friends and family social media. That's kind of like your Facebook. That's your personal social media. Then there's your professional social media, items like LinkedIn. Interest social media, items like Pinterest and Google Plus seems to be more of, joining like, kind of interests and stuff. There's very industry specific social media. I belong to a couple of different social media platforms and stuff, dealt specifically within the real estate world and the professional speaking world. And then there's also recreational specific social media sites. I know that there's social media sites out there developed just purely for scuba diving and golfing and baseball and fantasy leagues and all that other stuff out there. So I tell people, you don't have to be an expert at every single social media platform out there. You don't have to be on them and an expert in every single one of them out there. I have like my top 5, and even with that, if I was only solely just within one business, I probably wouldn't be in a total of 5. I'd probably be in less than that. But I have like my top 5 that we play in and we work with and stuff. But I mean, it is, you kind of have to, you really want to look at, what social media platforms should you really truly be on. So with that, pick the social media sites that you have an interest in. It's funny. I was actually in a discussion group the other day, and somebody was talking about Instagram. And I told them, like, if you have if you could give if you don't care about sharing photos or anything like that, I said, don't be on Instagram. You don't. Let me just first off tell you, you don't have to be on every social media platform out there. Pick the social media sites that your connections have an interest in. Pick the social media sites that you enjoy playing on and being a part of. Pick the social media sites that you want to be active in. The worst thing in the world is basically to have a connection out there, a site out there that you start ghosting on, and the ghosting is when you all of a sudden you just disappear. So I want to talk about some of the biggie sites and stuff out there. So let's first off talk about Facebook. I'm not going to go too much in depth on Facebook. I'm going to just naturally assume that the majority of the people on here have a Facebook account, or they've been on Facebook. I think Facebook, if you take out the MySpace and the Friendster, I think Facebook's probably one of the more older ones out there and stuff. So, I'm going to share with you kind of what I do with my own personal Facebook. And, Facebook I look as more of a personal glimpse into my life. So, my recommended posting. Well, typically I start off, the morning, I post something motivational. And it's really, it's really tough to go find it. I literally go scrolling through my feeds and stuff, and I subscribe to certain, certain channels and stuff like Zig Ziglar or Success channels or something of that aspect. And I grab one of their motivational stuff and I just share it. I mean, that's typically one of the first things I do. That's kind of my morning routine. Throughout the course of the day, I'll share 1 to 2 personal items about me and stuff, my interests or my family or something of that aspect. I may check into like the gym and, I'll share something about that. I'll say something about that, or, I'll talk about, what a beautiful day it is, or, hitting the golf course, or, I just share something about me personally. And then, throughout the day, I'll share one professional nugget about me, non-sales. I'll share a success that we're having. Or, there's times like, for my real estate practice, we'll be out on tour, and, and I do a lot of my real estate stuff through Facebook. And, there was one time I saw a really cool, it was the Eiffel Tower done in Legos and stuff. And so I snapped a quick photo of that. I shared that and stuff. So, also with Facebook, they allow you to have a business page or a fan page. Now, once again, through this, I also like pushing motivational stuff through there also. I almost learned that by accident, and by, and what happened was, it's really easy to find negative crap out there. It's really easy to find people that are negative and whining and, being upset. That's easy to find. Why do you think that there's so many different news channels out there and stuff? So, but what I discovered was once I started sharing motivational stuff, well, that stuff got shared and that stuff got, promoted. Just people, people would just organically share that, put that out there and stuff. So what almost happened was friends of mine were, basically promoting my business page or my fan page by sharing my motivational posts. Well, people would see that and they liked it, so that they would like my business page so that they could stay connected. And then from there, certain relationships grew into other, more business. So also on your fan page or business page, share your successes. Share what's going on with you professionally. Most industries, Facebook is a great place to run some social media advertising. It is by far, it's actually, we run a ton of social media marketing through Facebook. It is by far probably our best pay per click, our best, our best rate of return and stuff. We've actually surpassed Google, everything else and stuff. And I always tell people, if you're going to run ads, I was actually down in Arizona last month and met with a an insurance person. And we're talking about, we're talking about social media marketing and stuff. And, what he was doing basically the easy thing of just boosting, boosting your post and stuff. And literally, it was, simple little stuff about him. It was like there was no splash. It was called a splash page. What a splash page is something that somebody will click on. It takes them out of Facebook and puts them into your website. So that means if you're going to run any type of social media advertising, that's the key element that you want to do. Also, connect with groups. Once again, we're into that connecting aspect of social media. So I also want to talk a little bit about, because I've had some people tell me, it's like, oh, well, my industry and the financial services world and stuff, stockbrokers and, people of that aspect, they tell me, it's like, well, I can't have a Facebook. I can't. It's out of compliance. I'm not allowed to have a Facebook page. Well, double check on that. And I always tell people that if your corporate, if your boss or your company tells you you cannot, then listen to that. I don't want you to, I don't want to be the reason that you get terminated or anything of that aspect. If that's your main source of, your main source of income and stuff. But I would also I would, chat with them about it, because one of my best friends, it's a financial advisor, and she's in stock, she's a stock market, stockbroker, person like that. She has a very active Facebook page. But the key element is she does not share anything, does not talk about anything about what's going on with the market or anything of investments on Facebook. And her attitude is, hey, if somebody is a friend of mine on Facebook, they already know what I do for a profession. This is a chance for me to kind of share what's going on with my life, share some photos, and just stay connected with my friends and my family. And that's kind of the key element where I see with Facebook and stuff. That's that's where I see people get the best rate of return, is when they remember that Facebook is all about personal. Now let's go to the professional side. We'll talk about LinkedIn. Once again, I love basically pushing motivational stuff in there, and my business successes in there. A lot of times people will see webinar trainings and stuff that we're doing for trainings and for companies and stuff. They'll see that through our LinkedIn stuff. Another good aspect with LinkedIn is share about your volunteer and your community involvement. I'm seeing this shift within the business community, that it's no longer so much as far as what's our sales, what's our volume, what's our product movement, what's all this aspect. I'm still seeing that as an important aspect of, when companies are promoting themselves or talking about themselves. But I'm also starting to see the aspect of what's our community involvement. What nonprofits are we getting involved in? What organizations are we working with? What are we giving back to the community and to the marketplace? That's one of those aspects that I see that's, that it's sharing, that I'm seeing very popular within the LinkedIn community and stuff. Once again, there's really great groups to get involved in and plugged into with LinkedIn and stuff. A lot of great, and the key element with groups is there has to be a shared bond. There has to be a shared community and stuff. Also with LinkedIn, publish articles. Somebody asked me, it's like, what's the difference between a blog and an article when it comes to the online world? I tell them, it's like, honestly, I don't know. I think to me, it's like the terms are almost both interchangeable and stuff. But that's a great aspect to help kind of get yourself some traction out there in the business community, is by writing articles and sharing them. I've actually had a couple of magazines and stuff reach out to me to do interviews purely off of the articles that we share, because all of our blogs and stuff also get shared out through LinkedIn as an article. So let's talk about there we go. Types of motivational postings. So here on your screen, you see a handful of types of motivational postings that I put out and stuff. And I like, when I'm putting out motivational postings and stuff, I like to use pictures. And the reason is because if you think about it as you're scrolling through Facebook or LinkedIn or even Twitter on your phone and stuff. It's just, you're kind of scrolling through the text, and all of a sudden there's a photo and that catches your attention. It gets you to stop and take a look at what is this picture and stuff. That's one of the biggest reasons when I push through my motivationals, I like to have pictures, within, tied into the motivational postings, because it actually gets people to stop and take a look at it and stuff. So, here's just a handful of them. Feel free to connect with me on either Facebook or LinkedIn. You're going to be the two biggest ones if you're looking for motivational stuff to help share. YouTube. I want to talk about this for a little bit. Videos are becoming the norm in social media. You look at kind of the progression of videos outside of the YouTube arena and stuff. We started off with Snapchat and Periscope. Then all of a sudden we went to Facebook Live. Instagram now has a live feature. I was actually uploading a video into our YouTube channel, and I even saw a section in there to where we could basically we could literally do a live stream off of our YouTube channel and stuff. Videos are becoming more and more of the norm when it comes to social media and stuff. Absolutely, we tie in videos and video marketing a lot. It is actually, and this is kind of, I'll share with you this nugget, it's a little bit going off topic of social media, but when we're confirming an appointment with a client, 9 times out of 10, the number that I want to get, the number I want to get 10 times out of 10 is their cell phone number. The number I typically get 9 times out of 10 is their cell phone number. Why do I want to get their cell phone number? Plain and simply put, what's the one phone number that we typically will probably never, ever, ever change? Cell phone. And as far as accessibility, what is within us within 10 feet? I mean, I'm looking at my cell phone right now, and it is a arm's length away from me. But what's the one thing that we always have traditionally within 10 feet, I'm going to say at least 22, 23 hours out of the day? Cell phone. Well, when we're confirming our appointments and stuff, and we're just, confirming up for the next day for the appointments and stuff, you know what I'll do? I'll shoot a quick video and I'll text the video to them, especially if this is my first time meeting somebody, which is not uncommon in the real estate world. So what this does is it gives them a chance. They can see me. They recognize me. They know who I look like. I now all of a sudden become more of a friend. I'm now somebody that they recognize. I'm not somebody that they're going into Starbucks or to wherever and they're kind of walking in blindly. They don't know what I look like and stuff. So it actually helps a little bit with that rapport building right off the bat. Times I'll have people tell me, it's like, well, I don't want to be on video. I don't want people to see what I look like. Well, if you meet with your clientele face to face in any way, shape, or form, trust me, they know what you look like already, or they're going to know what you look like. So just don't worry about being on the YouTube scared list and stuff, or the video scared list. So what is the whole point of social media? Well, it's to build connections. It's to help you stay in touch, and it's to help you keep relationships growing. Think of it this way: as we have, as America as a whole, as our country has grown more and more into, myself as a prime example, I'm originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I now live just south of Seattle, Washington, in a city called Tacoma, Washington. I get outside the Pacific Northwest. Nobody knows what Tacoma is. Everybody knows what Seattle is and stuff. It is easily a day's plus worth of driving between the two. It's depending on which airline flights it is, it's going to be anywhere from about 4 to 6 hours, depending on, if you're doing a straight shot or a layover. So, but that's the norm now. People are, there was a time in a day and age where people, they were born, they grew up, they worked, and they died all within a 30, maybe 50-mile radius. That's no longer the norm. So that's the biggest reason, that's one of the biggest reasons social media just absolutely blew up. It was a chance for friends and families and classmates and people to stay connected as we all, were born, raised, grew up, and then went out into the world to do our professional jobs and stuff. So I want you to remember that as you're playing and you're working in the social media world and stuff, it's not so much as always in that sales. We've all experienced that, to where somebody, every post that they make is always about with the product they're selling, or their product they're pitching, or the service that they provide. And then maybe you'll get them to checking in at a movie theater. But other than that, it's always sales. Well, what happens with that? Well, they either get unfriended, or they get blocked, or they get kind of, they just fall off onto the side because your just natural defenses and stuff is, I don't want to know about this person. But if you have somebody that, is in there building a connection and building a friendship and building a relationship, and then they just kind of sprinkle in little nuggets of what they do professionally, well, you're always looking for that person and stuff. So how to grow your business with social media. Absolutely key element. You've got to create relationships. There is, I can't stress on that enough. I can't hammer that in enough. Social media is not about selling yourself. Social media is about building and creating relationships. The other aspect is you want to build a community. It is, as I said, I'm seeing this trend more and more in the business world to where it's, while your business successes, your profit and loss is still looked at and evaluated, but also is what are you giving back into the community? How are you giving back into the community? What are you doing to build a community? I'm seeing this coming in more and more. Another cool aspect for social media is it allows you for follow-up. It allows you the ability to connect with somebody and then to follow up with them. Maybe you don't get that wonderful cell phone number that's always by their side. But you know what? If you're connected with them through LinkedIn or through Facebook or something like that, you've got that messenger app. And just about, and then once again, most people that have those social media platforms, they are also have the apps in there. So once again, you're always within that close proximity. And another cool aspect with your social media is it allows you for other business opportunities. We kind of refer to this as the ninja of the selling technique and stuff. It is to where all of a sudden, all of a sudden I noticed one of my friends and stuff that, especially here in Tacoma, we're a very big military community and stuff. And one of my friends that I worked with and helped them find a home and stuff, I saw that they were getting PCS'd out of the area and stuff. So I was able to reach out to them and say, hey, see that you're getting PCS in military terms of the permanent change of station. It's kind of like getting a job transfer. So I was able to reach out to them and say, hey, I see you're PCSing to so-and-so. Man, we've got to get together before you take off and stuff. I'm going to miss you guys. And then from there, I can always ask, like, hey, what are you going to do with your home? Are you going to keep it as a rental, or are you looking at, selling it and stuff? If you're looking at keep it as a rental, let me connect you with a couple of rental agencies that I know that I trust. If you're looking at selling, let's do a market analysis. Let's take a look and see what's the market going on in your particular neighborhood and stuff. If I was not connected with them on social media, I may or may not know that until their house is on the market or they're already PCS out of the area. So, what are the best sites? As we talk about, there's probably thousands, if not tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of social media marketing sites out there. So which ones are the best sites? Well, which ones do you use? Which site are your customers on? Which sites do you feel the most comfortable using? If you're not a Pinterest type of guy, as I discovered, don't be on Pinterest. Pick one and get dialed into it. And then if you want to go into another one, start working, and then you pick another one and get dialed into that one and stuff. That's how I actually got very active within 5 social media platforms and stuff. And as I tell people, if it wasn't for the fact that I have 2.5 companies, I probably wouldn't be on 5 very actively. I would probably be on 2 or 3 very actively and stuff. So, that's kind of a key element you want to look at is what is your, what is your, what do you feel most comfortable using? What do you feel most comfortable working with? And where are your customers at? Where are your people at? So, let's talk about social media fails. Now this is where I'm going to kind of irritate and I irk some of these social media gurus out there, especially the social media gurus out there that the only thing that they do is they sell seminars or training programs on social medias of how to get liked or how to get followers or how to get this or how to get that. But they have no real-world business experience anywhere outside of the social media world. Well, and this is normally where I irk people the most, is using an automated system to push the same message across all platforms. I think the most popular one out there is Hootsuite, if I remember correctly. And basically what that does, that allows you to link all your social media stuff together, and you can push it all out at the same time to everything out there in the world. Well, I have a problem with that. Let's take Instagram for an example. Your typical Instagram user is going to be anywhere from 16 to 28, and also very popular in the international market. Now let's take a look at Facebook. Your traditional Facebook crowd is going to be in their 40s and older. So for those of us that have been involved in the world of sales or marketing or anything of that aspect for more than 6 months, would I try to build a relationship? Would I try to build common ground with somebody that's 22 or 23 the same way that I would somebody that's in their mid 40s? No. You communicate differently to the two sectors. So why am I pushing the same message out through multiple channels the same way? In all honesty, I tell people I consider it lazy. And for those of us that are on social media and stuff, and for those of us that follow people and stuff, we can tell that when they do that, especially because Hootsuite will put their little logo, their little thingy in there, and we know it's lazy. And it feels like you're spamming me, and you're spamming me in multiple different, especially if I'm following you in different platform stuff, you're spamming me in multiple platforms. And now do I, on occasions, do I use the same image and push it through the various different sites and stuff? Absolutely. Let's talk about our motivational. Let's talk about our business successes and stuff. Those are normally very much the same messages, and they're pushed out the same way. But how I'm going to communicate on a more social aspect of LinkedIn is different than how I will on Facebook. Facebook's going to be a lot more social, a lot more about what's going on with me personally, whereas LinkedIn's going to be a lot more, I'm going to still be social, but it's going to be a lot more what's going on with me professionally. So I'm not big on people that utilize something that pushes out the same message across everything out there. A good friend of mine, he's always tweeting and stuff, and he actually uses one of those services and stuff. And actually, let me just kind of take a quick peek here. I was actually at a conference just based purely all around professional speakers, and we were chatting about how many people here can take a look and say, okay, I have X amount of tweets. Bear with me, I'm trying to, oops. My phone's acting up on stuff, but I think I have like somewhere between 500 or 600 tweets that I put out, and I just recently started getting active on Twitter and stuff. But I can honestly say it's like every single one of those tweets I have pushed out, or I have done personally. Nothing has been automatic or pushed out for me. And keep in mind, also some of those is just interacting back and forth with people. There is a lot of that is just connecting and stuff and chatting back and forth. So. Another social media fails, not building connections, not interacting. That's the key element. It is when I get somebody, and we're just funny that we're just talking about that. When I get, when I'm tweeting and something like that, or Instagramming, or my Facebook fan page, or my personal page, somebody comments, typically I comment back. Why? I'm building an interaction. And also, according to my, my Facebook, my social media kind of gurus and people that do a lot of our social media advertising stuff, they've also told me that's a good aspect too, because what that does, not only is that building that interaction, but we'll take like Facebook for example. Facebook will say, hey, these two people, they like each other, so I magically start showing up more often in their feed. Because just because we may be connected on Facebook, well, if I'm one of 2,000 connections, not all my stuff may be showing up on your feed all the time, but Facebook will sit there and go, okay, well, wait a second, you guys are communicating, so more and more of Greg's stuff is going to show up on your feed. Another social media fail is buying followers, likes, or retweets. Retweets. Say that 5 times very fast, or anything, or fill in the blank. I personally have never done that. I'll be honest with you, on open transparency. There's been a few times I actually did look at that. I looked really closely at that and reached out to a good friend of mine that actually did that. He's very very active in the social media world. He's based out of Florida and stuff. And he told me point blank, like, Greg, yes, I will tell you, I openly admit I bought followers on Twitter. He said, I swiped the credit card, I bought the followers. He said, would I ever do it again? Zero. I would not do it again. And basically these companies, how they sell it is that it's a term called social proofing stuff. It's like, well, if you look at your followers and you have 50,000 followers, oh, but people must like you and stuff. But people are looking more and more. It's like, okay, well, who are these followers? Well, if all these followers, if they have no followers or they have no interactions, there's no it's becoming more and more the norm of looking at that going, oh, somebody's buying followers, or they're buying likes, or they're buying hearts on Instagram, or they're buying retweets or shares. People are, the general community, I'm seeing they're getting more and more keyed into that. Another social media fails. I see that, ironically, I saw this happen a lot, then it died off, and I was happy, and I was thinking maybe everybody had learned, and then it started, now I start seeing it coming back into play again, is what I refer to as mass friending. Somebody will friend somebody on Facebook, and then they go look at their friend list, and they friend request everybody that they know. It almost feels a little stalkerish, especially in the Facebook community. LinkedIn is a little bit different. LinkedIn, we're kind of like the professional, it's kind of like the professional, hordes of the social media world and stuff. Most LinkedIn connections will take a LinkedIn connection for just about everybody, and primarily because we understand the demographics of, I take in a LinkedIn connection with you, well, now that puts me into like 3 layers deep of your connections and stuff that helps me to be able to search. LinkedIn has actually become one of the best searching sites for professional worlds and stuff. So that's why most people will take a LinkedIn connection and not even think twice about it. I think in all the years I've only pretty much unconnected 1 or 2 people on LinkedIn. There's been a handful of people that I have unconnected or banned on Facebook and stuff. But I'm seeing this coming back in a little bit more and more with Facebook and stuff, especially some of the social groups that I belong to and stuff, where people will go in, they'll just do this mass friending, and what I always see coming out of it is it feels very stalkerish. And then the other aspect is using content not suitable for site. I'm seeing this happening quite a bit more with LinkedIn, where people will share, more of their personal stuff. And it's funny, every now and then you'll actually even see people kind of point out, it's like, hey, this is LinkedIn, this is not Facebook. Once again, you kind of have to look at, what is the main aspect for that particular website and stuff. Is it more of a professional, site? Is it more of a personal site? Is it a is it more of a recreational site? Is it a kind of a for people that have a same kind of, interest in the same sport or interest in something of that aspect? We just did a training yesterday on lead generation with networking. We talked about that can be a non-traditional lead generating event, but you can't go in there with sales. You have to go in there with looking at building relationships and building kind of a community, and then from there, just naturally people will discover what you do, and then that's where the sales leads into place and stuff. So another thing I always like to tell people is success is never owned. It is always rented, and the rent is absolutely due daily. You have to take daily actions to achieve and keep success. Just like with your social media and stuff, you have to stay active with it daily. You don't want to be what's referred to as ghosting, to where all of a sudden you just, you fade off and stuff. I always tell people the greatest sports team train regularly to achieve success. It is, as we're coming into football season and stuff up here. Here at the Seattle Seahawks, they just played last night, which was not a great game, judging from the ending score and stuff. But I always tell people, it's like, the Seattle Seahawks didn't just wake up and go, oh, we have a game today, we'd better make sure we're at the stadium by this time. No, they have trained, they have prepped, they've gotten ready for that game, so that when it does, when it is game day, they can show up with their A game on, and they can take care of business. Every top producer, performer in your industry has a coach or mentor, along with a game plan that they use regularly to stay on top of their game. Myself personally, I actually have 2 coaches and stuff, just because I've got more than one business. It is that's part of the reason why I have the multiple coaches. Some aspects they do overlap on, and other aspects they kind of work with me in that their environments that they're at and stuff. And then periodically I'll bring in consultants and stuff to help with specific projects and items of that aspect. So I always tell people the number one investment you can always make is absolutely in yourself. I tell people point blank, unless you're doing 7 figures a year in income, you need to be investing in yourself mostly, because you are that aspect in there that can always be 100%. The wonderful thing about what most of us do on this particular webinar and stuff is we understand that our income we create, we control. We're not stuck in that 40 by 40 plan where we work for somebody for 40 hours a week for 40 years, and we hopefully we hope to retire on 40% of our income and stuff. We're not stuck in that game. We're in this other game here where it's called entrepreneurship, or that you create by yourself. You can create how much income you make. So apologize for eating lunch. You see this gnarly picture and stuff here pop up. I think this is one of the best pictures I've been able to find out there to really drive home this point. We've all seen ballerinas, we've all seen dancers, we've all seen where they just look beautiful and they're graceful and they just literally they float across the stage and they just look absolutely stunningly gorgeous. And we've all sat there and said, man, I would love to be able to dance and perform to that level. Well, a friend of mine that she was a professional dancer. She's now a dance mom. She shared with me, the intense training that they go through. For years and years and years, they could spend 10 plus years training and performing and working before they are able to step into anything of even like the starting levels of getting into something of greatness within their industry and stuff. So it kind of spurred me to start doing a little bit more research into it. And that's when and this picture here just kind of drives it home. So it's like, are you committed or are you interested? We all want to be that top performer. We all want to be that top producer. We all want to have that 7-figure a year income. We all want to do that. But are we committed to doing what needs to be done to get that, to do that, or are we just interested? A good friend of mine says, everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. So let's talk about understanding a little bit about what I call the business builder's game. And sometimes I get a little bit of pushback on this and stuff because people are like, hey, what I do, it's not a game. This is how I provide for my family. This is how I put a roof over my table, roof over my head. This is how I put food on the table for my kids. I get that. I understand that. I don't mean to belittle this by referring to it as a game, but what I want you to understand is I want you to look at it as like I want you to look at business as as a game, as far as what do I provide, how do I strategize, how do I operate my highest and best use, what is that, how do I increase my revenues, how do I increase my time. And so part of that is we look at the top level here, and it's like we look at what are the activities that I'm doing. If at the end of the day, and if I looked at what I actually did for that day, would I hire myself or would I fire myself? And the biggest reason is because our activities will lead into our leads that are generated. If I spend all day sitting and watching Netflix, I'm probably not going to get any leads in for that day. But if I spend part of that day pushing out some social media marketing ads, I spend that day going out to a networking event, I spend that day reaching out into my clientele base, doing some follow-ups and stuff. I do those type of activities, there's a higher likelihood that I'm going to get some leads. And all that leads are is just a chance for you to, convert somebody from a suspect to a prospect to an actual client and stuff. And so we all go through this. We make appointment, we go into appointments made. And I was just talking to this last night to a brand new insurance person and stuff. And he was actually kind of upset about how many people fall out and stuff. How many appointments basically no show them and stuff. And I told him, I was like, okay, well there's appointments made and appointments conducted. Most of the time, 9 times out of 10, stuff comes up. Life comes up. And there's actually some techniques and stuff that we can utilize and stuff to kind of help, nail in those appointments and stuff. But there's stuff that comes up. And so, sometimes appointments will get rescheduled. That's what I was like, and then other times people just ghost on you. They disappear on you. They may have no interest in your product or your service, but they didn't want to upset you or hurt your feelings, so instead they no-show you. So that's why in my trackers and stuff, I look at what's our appointments made and what's our appointments conducted. Would I always love to see 100%? Absolutely. Do I see that? On occasions, yes, but I realize that there's things in life that pops up and stuff. Well, out of those appointments conducted is where our clients come from. Now, keep in mind, I want you to develop your business to where you don't need to take everybody that comes in through your front door as a client. You don't want that as a business model and stuff. You want to be able to become selective. Well, by being able to become selective, you have to lead generate at a volume enough to where you don't need everybody that comes to, becomes that client level, that you don't have to take on every single client that comes in. Well, in the clients, they basically lead to, contracts. With this in the real estate world, it's called a purchase and sale agreement or a listing agreement. In the speaking world, it's called an engagement contract and stuff. Insurance world, it's called taking an application and stuff. There's different, different industries will have different verbiage and stuff. Attorneys, they call it collecting the retainer and stuff. But basically, it is taking them to where, okay, now we're getting into business and stuff. So you have to look at what are your numbers. And so a lot of times you want to take a look and go, okay, well, if I want X amount of year in income, what is each contract or what is each engagement, how much is that worth? Well, if I take the average of that, well, how many clients do I have to sign to get a contract? Because, especially in the real estate world, not all of our clients turn into contracts and stuff. Listings expire. Buyers, fall out of qualifications, or I recently just had some buyers that got, literally a couple of weeks after we started working, they came up underneath the job transfer to Texas. Stuff happens. So, how many clients do we need to get the amount of contracts that we need? Well, out of those clients, how many appointments do we need to conduct to get that number of clients that we want to work with? Well, how many appointments do we need to make to be able to conduct those appointments? Well, how many leads do we need to generate so that we get the contacts to make those appointments? And what type of activities do we need to do to generate those leads? So you can kind of see, if you understand this flow and stuff, you can see where you need to, tweak and where you need to turn your market on and stuff. It was actually as we were kind of, expanding, or as our business and our real estate was actually expanding faster than what our team can handle, we actually dialed back some of our marketing and stuff so that we could take care of the leads that were coming in and we could service the leads. And we actually figured out how we could regulate how many leads we were bringing in, by our marketing efforts and stuff, so that we can kind of bring in the staffing stuff and then turn our marketing efforts back up and stuff. And then that way we didn't have leads slipping through the cracks and stuff for that aspect. So last thing that I do every day is I do daily planning and reflection. This is when I tell people, deal with the realities, cut out the crap. This is yourself. This is your self-evaluation. In the Army, we used to refer to as an after-action review and stuff. You don't want to sit there and say, oh, I did so wonderful today. I watched television all day. No, that's crap. You really want to look at, this kind of boils back down into, if I looked at what my activities were in the last 24 hours, would I hire myself or would I fire myself? You have to look at, are you operating the highest and best use of your time? It is, are you doing things that are generating you an income, or are you just staying busy? There's a difference between being productive and being busy. And there's a huge difference between being busy and being profitable. So I want to chat with you a little bit about our advanced next level trainings, our 90-day business accelerator boot camp. Now, what this is we meet once a week virtually, very similar like we are right now, and we really dive deep into building your business and accelerating your business and literally just blowing the doors off of your business and into, getting you into that next level that you want to be at. We fast track your business for success. We get really deep on generating leads. And then on top of that, we get really deep on how to follow up with those leads. I'm always amazed at how many people they talk about they need more leads, and then I look at their follow-up systems and they have next to no follow-up systems in place. So it's like we get their lead generation up, and they have nothing in place to stay connected with those leads and stuff, no way to follow up with them. And so I mean, they're just, they're 9 times out of 10 they're spending good money to, they're flushing good money down the toilet and stuff. So we're going to get really deep on converting those leads to, taking those leads and making them into paying clients or customers. So get really into our lead generation system. We go dive deep into our social media. We get really intentional on our referral sources. We go really, really deep on closing techniques and stuff. We go into, do we need to use a product close? Do we need to use a time close? Do we need to use a money close? I mean, there's multiple different closing techniques out there, and depending on what the objection is, and realizing sometimes it's not an objection, it may be a complaint. And so you can't close on a complaint and stuff. You have to address the complaint, and then normally from there is a true objection will come out, or they're ready to buy and stuff. We're going to get very intentional on phone skills and how to follow up. I find it funny when people tell me, it's like, oh, I hate the phone. I can't deal with the phone. Man, my phone is probably one of my best money sources out there. It is. I absolutely love getting people on the phone. Love getting to them face to face, more than the phone, but the phone is a close second. So tied into this is going to be our bonus session. As some of you know, I'm very big on health and wellness and stuff. So we're going to talk about weight management. We're going to talk about how do you live in optimal health. And the key element we're going to talk about is your energy management. Something I want you to keep in mind. It is everybody that's on this webinar or on this podcast or watching on YouTube or any other means that that this is being streamed out at. You have to realize, and it doesn't matter if you are truly if you're 100% self-employed, it's your name signing the lease and all that other aspect, it's your checkbook funding the operation. It doesn't matter if you're in a 1099 position and stuff to where you're like a real estate broker or an insurance broker or a mortgage lender or something like that, to where you get paid 100% on commission. So you generate zero business, you get $0. And it doesn't matter if you're like a salesperson to where you have a small little base salary and stuff, but the bulk of your income is made on your bonuses and your overrides and your commissions. It doesn't matter which one of those aspects that you follow into, your income is all related to your energy level. And if you don't know how to maintain and manage your energy level, your income will suffer. Your income will falter. Another aspect that I shared this with a brand new insurance person yesterday. It's like, if you are left to your own accord, if you are managing purely just 100% yourself, the marketplace will spank you eventually. Even myself, somebody that's purely self-employed and stuff. As I said, I have 2 coaches that they keep me on track. So, I mean, I tell people, like, trust me, there are days I wake up and I do not want to get out of bed. I am just like everybody else in that aspect. But I realize that when I turn in my performance reports and stuff, and I'm showing my activities, and I share my calendar with my coaches and stuff, if they see that I'm basically, when I'm supposed to be working and I'm screwing off, I get spanked. So each week is between 60 to 120 minutes in live, in-depth webinar. It's not a recorded webinar. It's just like this. It is live and in-depth. Plus, we have questions and answers. We're going to put together, we have a private Facebook group with just bootcamp members. Answering questions, networking is a great way to mastermind. I've been involved in multiple of these, both with myself and with other businesses and stuff, other training companies. Man, I tell you, some of the best relationships have come out of mastermind groups just like this. We have weekly action items. This is boot camp style training. This is the best style of training that I've discovered to go out there. It's it's immersion. It's not a once a month, hey, we're just checking in. It is a weekly basis. We get in and we get deep. Every week you're given assignments and you are held accountable. One of the things that I like to do is I actually like to put people, match people up and you become accountability partners. 9 times out of 10, these are going to be people that are in the same industry as you, but they're going to be in separate marketplaces than you. In my real estate, my real estate team and stuff, one of our best masterminds or groups that we're at was we mastermind with other top level producing realtors all across the country. Why? Because we're in the same industry. We're not each other's direct competition. We can actually share. If I have somebody move into Phoenix, Arizona, I know exactly who I'm partnering them up with. Just like if somebody is moving from San Antonio, Texas, that I'm going to get partnered up with them. Because we can share resources like that. And the awesome thing is we can really get in depth. We can really look at each other's marketing. We can tear it apart, and we never have to worry about because we're each other's direct competition. Weekly action items. As I said, we're held accountable. Execution is the heartbeat of your business. The second it stops is the second your business begins to die. As I always tell people, it's like, if you stop progressing, you stop growing, you're going to start dying. There is no, coasting and being complacent and feeling like your business is set and good is the kiss of death when it comes to your business and stuff. So we live in this crazy world where people will go put themselves hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. They'll spend 4+ years of their lives to get an education. And the really frustrating thing is they'll spend 6 figures, ease 6 figures just to get a really rock solid education, how to become like a dentist or an attorney or something of that aspect. Or we'll kind of go through the school of hard knocks and stuff, and we'll go, realtors or something like that. They'll go through all this education, and very rarely do we ever get anybody that will actually kind of sit there and say, this is how you promote and build your business. And so, people will spend all this massive money to be able to become this great professional, and they learn nothing of how to market or promote that profession. And for an extremely small amount of money, you'll learn the necessary skills along with the coaching and the one-on-one involvement and the marketing plan that will help you generate 7+ figures a year. So what's our 90-day boot camp? So depth hardcore coaching plus interactive inside Facebook group along with daily access to me. If you were to get this level of one-on-one interaction with myself or just about any other top coaching professional out there, you would easily pay somewhere around $60,000 for that one-on-one coaching. Easily. Well, let me tell you what. I'm not charging $60,000. I'm not even charging $6,000. Our 90-day business accelerator bootcamp is $14.97. Go on our website. You can actually register up for it right now. We could go and register for $14.97, get into our next boot camp. But you know what? I like those that take action. I like those that have already been through some of our trainings and stuff because we can immediately jump in. We can fast track it even more. So for those that are willing to act now, we're going to do the entire program for $9.97. We're whacking $500 off, or a third off, if you want to look at it that way. So for $9.97, you get that 12 weeks plus that bonus session plus that that interaction within our Facebook groups and stuff. So I always tell people about our money back guarantee. And for those of you that worked with me in real estate, just like my real estate business and my coaching business, I back up my actions with my performance guarantee. So I always tell people, it's like, I'm more about accountability than I am about long-term contracts and stuff. So I tell people, like, within 30 calendar days of our last training sessions, if you have done the work, if you attended each session, you've completed and shown that you've done all the homework, action steps, and the weekly commitments, and if you feel the program is still not worth every penny, I will refund the full amount, and you get to keep all the content. That's how much faith I have in this program and stuff, that I'm willing to put that level of guarantee out there for this. So, I promise with 100% certainty that this will be the best investment that you've made in your career. Our next boot camp starts Wednesday, September 7th, 2016 at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's 12 noon and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, only $997. If you look at that, what that breaks down to, is $11 per day. You decide to pack your lunch every day for the next 90 days together, the savings alone will have covered the cost of your training. So how do you register? Well, you register, go on to gregttraining.com, click on webinars, and just basically send a message for the boot camp. What we're going to do is we're going to send you back an invoice and stuff, and then you can pay online. As I said, you do that at gregttraining.com. We're working on getting our pay now function and stuff. We're just kind of getting that incorporated into the website and stuff. So with that, yep, I thought that was the last slide. Let me just come back in here. Bear with me as I go back, open up my chat window here, because as I said, I have that, I don't want to get into that ADD brain and stuff, so let me get back here in the chat window. Let me take a look at some of the questions here that have popped up. All right. Let's see here. How often should I post on Facebook, and what should I post? Well, think about what we covered and stuff. I like, right around 4 postings a day. Sometimes I do more, sometimes I do less. It really kind of depends on what's going on with my day. I always try to follow through with the motivational stuff. And I actually put out a Monday motivational. So on Mondays and stuff, people that are following me or people that are trending with me, they actually get 2 motivationals. They kind of get a bonus session and stuff. Because I'll push like my first one and stuff, and then I actually subscribe to a service to where we actually get populated in one, and I basically do a little bit of cutting and pasting and may have to tweak out some of the verbiage and stuff, and then I push that out and stuff. A lot of my pictures and stuff that you saw, that's where that came from, because I do most of that on my laptop, where my normal my normal motivational, first motivational post in the morning is I actually do it off of my phone. So on top of that is I'll do a business success. And that business success could be, hey, we just got something underneath contract, or hey, I'm flying out for this conference, or something in business that the thing I don't want to do. I don't want to be that aggressive, salesy person. I saw this happen the other day, and actually one of the Facebook groups and stuff. For those of you hearing the police sirens coming in the background, that's not for me. Fortunately, it's the joys of having a beautiful view on our 6th floor of our office and stuff. We're right next to a busy street, and as I discovered, we're kind of like the through street for police and fire. So. But what I saw when I was on the social media group was, literally something, I'm going to paraphrase it, but literally it was something to the effect of, hey, I'm looking for, I have buyers, I'm looking for listings. If you've ever thought about selling your house, please private message me. Now, this was like, an HOA association Facebook group and stuff. And so, I kind of looked at that, and I kind of started digging a little bit curiosity just got me and stuff. I started digging a little bit deeper into her and stuff, and I was saying where she was going to multiple groups and doing the same thing and stuff. Now, do we do some marketing through, our groups and stuff? Yes, absolutely. But there was no splash page, there was no nothing. And that's another reason why I like splash pages and stuff, is because as people are going through their feed, it feels like it's a sponsored link and stuff. And, we also track which groups we go into and stuff, so I'm not spamming a particular group. I'm not, basically it's like what I want to do is I want to, not upset the particular groups and stuff. So, I feel, a little bit about, our successes and stuff. And then depending on the platform that I'm on and stuff. If I'm on Facebook, obviously I'm going to share a little bit more about my personal life and stuff. If I'm on LinkedIn, I may share an article that I feel that would be of great value. I'll share a little bit more professionally on LinkedIn than I do on Facebook, and I feel I'll share a little bit more on personal on Facebook than I do on LinkedIn and stuff. And then Instagram, I love it. Instagram has kind of turned into, there's a portion of where I do business, where we'll showcase out our successes and stuff. And then as I'm out about stuff, and if I see something really cool, I'll snap a quick photo of it and I'll shoot it out on Instagram and stuff. So It is, I try to stay around 4 postings a day, sometimes more, sometimes less. It all depends. Twitter is a little bit different animal and stuff. I think the most of what I read and trend out there is Twitter is right around ideally 10 plus times a day. But, most of the time what I see is most people don't really need Twitter all that much. Most people don't need to play on Twitter all that much. Twitter is a great way to build community as far as sharing what's going on and stuff. And as I said, as I saw the police were going by with their lights and sirens stuff, I could grab my phone and really quickly search hashtag Tacoma Tacoma Police, Tacoma, and I probably would be able to find out what's going on and stuff just because of that Twitter's how the news media and people are like sharing of what's happening in the moment and stuff. So. All right, let's take a look here. Another question coming up. How do I create a splash page? That we're going to go into that, we're also going to go into that quite a bit in depth and stuff, our social media marketing and stuff. But the biggest thing is you want to make sure that you can go through and something that somebody can click on that takes them out of Facebook and stuff. It is when I was talking to the insurance person, or the insurance or financial, I think he's an insurance guy in Phoenix, Arizona. It was one of those aspects where, all he was doing was basically saying, hey, I can quote you, or I can save you money. And then all people were doing was just liking. So he was confused, like, what do I do with these likes? How do I, and I told him, like, no, you need to link it over into a website, like your professional website or something. Get them off of Facebook. Get them into something where they put in their contact information and stuff. And then now you have a lead to follow up on. Because outside of that, it's just, it almost kind of turns stalkers like, hey, you liked my post. What can I do for you? That just felt stalkerish to me. And so, that's the key element. So you want to take something and basically it is, I don't know what's called a squeeze page. That's just what they call it in the social media world and stuff. But that puts them into your platform and stuff. And I share it. Not everybody that goes into my squeeze page actually puts their contact information in. Ironically, our ratios are typically right about 10%. 10% of the people that go into our website will actually put in their contact information. I can see the back-end analytics on stuff on that. And then especially if you're doing like paid marketing through Facebook and stuff, you've got some really cool techniques and stuff. Some, they're called pixels and stuff, to where you can actually kind of track. And, what Facebook does is Facebook learns more and more about who your target audience is. And so it actually, that's why we're getting such a great rate of return utilizing Facebook for marketing and stuff. So, should I friend request everybody that I meet? That's one of those, I always tell people, like, that's kind of one of those it depends and stuff. Just about everybody that I meet, I will LinkedIn connect with them if they're on LinkedIn. Kind of as I said, LinkedIn is kind of like, everybody will, just seems like everybody accepts a LinkedIn connection, I think, just because it's more of the professional status, it's less, it's less junky stuff in your news feeds. And it's more about, okay, I want to build my professional reach into the LinkedIn network and stuff. And LinkedIn has really, truly become like the searching platform in corporate America and stuff. Facebook is a little bit different and stuff. Facebook turns into more of, my standing with Facebook is if I bumped into you at the restaurant or at the mall or shopping or something, if I bumped into you out in the general community, would I recognize you? If the answer is yes, then I want you as a Facebook connection. It's pretty much kind of the rule of thumb that I do with that. I would highly recommend against doing that mass friending, because every time that I see it done, it always kind of shows it really, really bad. And then the worst situation is people will accept your friend request, and then there's never really a true connection there. So, and now have I accepted a friend request from somebody that I have not met personally? Actually, I did it once. Well, I do it from time to time. I can't say I just did it once and stuff. And but it's like, actually, it is, my friend said, hey, I told a buddy of mine about you. It's actually a buddy of mine from Las Vegas, Nevada. His buddy was in the Midwest and stuff. He's like, we're chatting, he saw some of the things that I shared about you, that I shared from you and stuff. He kind of, we're just chatting stuff. I think you two would, be friends in the real world anyways and stuff. So that was a friend request that I took of somebody that I, don't personally know and stuff. So, all right. Can we do payment plans for the boot camp? Yes, you can. We can actually break it down into 3 equal payments and stuff. Just let us know. We'll set up the invoicing for you that way. I think it turns into like $333 or $334-ish or so per payment and stuff. But yes, we can absolutely do that. Let me take a look here. Any other questions that are coming in? So answered that. We answered that one. I am a CPA. Should I be on Twitter? Once again, it depends. First off, do you like Twitter? Second off, do you find most of your clients, are they on Twitter? If the answer to those 2 is yes, then you probably should be on Twitter. If the answer to those 2 are no, then and Twitter is not where you want to be at, I wouldn't worry about being on Twitter. So, it all boils down to is where's your clients at, where are your connections at already, where do you like to play at, and how do you mix and merge into those. My key social media elements is Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Those are the 5 platforms that we play and operate in the most. Now are there tons of other social media sites? And there's a couple of social media sites, but I mean, those are more of our recreational stuff. That's more of, when, Greg just wants to go and relax. I'm not so worried about promoting any type of business or anything of that aspect. And ironically, that's where we get some of our greatest business connections and stuff. Join us for next Friday. We'll be talking about lead generation and stuff, both, traditional networking and untraditional networking kind of falls into that aspect and stuff. But I always tell people, go, play in the social media platforms that you enjoy the most. I try to play in, what is it? I just drew a blank on it. I never just drew a blank on it and stuff, but it's the one too where you can like arts and crafts and homemaking stuff and baking, and I love to cook, but and stuff. But it's like it trends very, very popular within females, but not so much with males and stuff. I mean, and I fell perfectly into that demographic and stuff. Well, was it one that I was going to be able to? It wasn't one that I was going to be able to just naturally be able to be very, be active in it. If I'm not going to be active in it, I kind of start, then there's, why would anybody follow you in an area that you're not active in and stuff? So. All right, with that, looks like we got all of our chats, or got all of our messages, or all of our questions answered and stuff. So with that, I thank you for joining us on today's webinar training. We just wrapped up our first week. We're doing a total of 3 weeks altogether. Next week we have closing steps of the sale, and lead generation with networking is going to be our 2 topics we're going to be handling Thursday and Friday of next week. Make sure to jump onto our website, gregttraining.com, so that you can register in and get the invite code and stuff for those aspects. And as always, you feel free to share their trainings. Absolutely. People ask me, I was like, what can I, thank you so much for the awesome content and the information. What can we do to help you? I tell people, share our awesome content information. That's how we build our brand and build our reputation and stuff. So with that, hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you guys go into a great week. And as always, make it a great day. I'll talk to you later.